The stars on Varan shone brighter than anywhere else in the known colonies. It was a quiet world at the edge of explored space. Green forests, blue rivers, and silver mountains under a sky that never fully turned dark. Humanity had come there to rest after centuries of war and travel. They wanted peace, and they found it on that silent planet. Among the settlers was a man named Elias Rin. He was not a soldier, not anymore. Once he had served as a ship engineer on a large exploration vessel. He had seen things that made him proud of humanity, and things that had made him tired. So he came to Varan to live a simple life, fixing small machines, helping his neighbors, and watching the stars from his small home near the forest. But there was someone on Varan who never spoke to anyone for long. Someone the colonists called the alien widow. She lived alone on the hill above the settlement, in a strange house that seemed alive. The walls of the house glowed with soft blue lines that moved like veins of light, and the roof shimmered like glass touched by starlight. Some days her home looked smaller. Other days it looked larger, as if it could breathe. The alien widow herself was unlike any human Elias had ever seen. She was tall, with smooth, silver-gray skin that reflected the light like moonlit water. Her eyes were deep and filled with tiny stars, as if she carried a whole galaxy inside them. She spoke softly rarely, and always seemed to listen more than she talked. No one knew her real name, and no one knew where she came from. Some said her people were from beyond the outer rim, from a civilization that had vanished long before humans reached the stars. Others said she had once been married to a human explorer who never returned from space, leaving her to mourn in silence. But no one dared to ask her. Elias had seen her only a few times, from a distance at the trade square, or walking along the river when the moons were bright. Each time he felt an odd sense of calm and curiosity, as if there was something familiar about her despite her alien form. The colony lived peacefully for years, and life on Varan was simple. Then one night something happened that changed everything. It was the night Elias saw the first light on the hill. He had been sitting on his porch, staring at the twin moons when he noticed a bright blue glow pulsing from the alien widow's home. It was not like the gentle glow that usually came from her house. This light was strong, alive, and rhythmic, as if it was a signal. At first, he thought it might be a power failure or a repair job. But then the glow spread across the hill, painting the trees and rocks in shifting colors. He felt a low hum in the air, vibrating through the ground like the sound of a ship's engine. Elias stood up. His curiosity was stronger than his fear. He picked up his small flashlight and began to walk toward the hill. As he climbed, the hum grew louder. The grass seemed to bend slightly toward the source of the light. The air became cold, and tiny sparks of blue energy floated around him, like fireflies from another world. When he reached the edge of the hill, he stopped. Through the shimmer of the energy field surrounding the widow's home, he saw her, standing before a figure of light. It was tall and shaped like a person, but not solid. The figure's body glowed with white-blue light that flickered softly, as if it was struggling to hold its form. Elias could not see its face, only its outline, and yet it felt alive. The widow lifted her hands and spoke in a soft, melodic language that sounded like wind moving through glass. The light figure answered in a deep, vibrating tone that echoed in the air. Elias could not understand the words, but he could feel the meaning. It was not anger or fear. It was sadness. They were not fighting. They were remembering. Elias crouched behind a rock, trying to stay hidden. He had seen many strange technologies in his life, but nothing like this. Could this figure be her lost mate? A projection from another world? Or something from before even humanity began to explore the stars? The figure reached out a hand made of light, and for a moment the widow reached back. Their hands met, and the glow around them flared brightly, lighting up the entire hill. The pulse of energy rippled through the air, and Elias could feel the warmth even from where he hid. Then the ground trembled. The light changed color, and from blue to golden white. The widow said something quickly, and the figure responded with a single echoing sound. Elias couldn't understand it, but it sounded final. And then, the figure vanished. The light collapsed in on itself, leaving only a faint shimmer in the air. The hum faded, and silence returned to the hill. Elias was about to leave when the widow turned. Her glowing eyes swept across the hill, and for a second Elias thought she saw him. His breath caught. She tilted her head slightly as if listening to something unseen, and then she whispered a word. The wind carried it to him, soft but clear. Soon. Elias froze. Then she turned away and walked slowly into her house. The lights dimmed and the hill returned to darkness. He hurried down the slope, heart pounding. When he reached his home, he sat on the porch, staring at the sky. The stars above seemed brighter now, almost watching him. He replayed what he had seen over and over in his mind. What was soon? Who or what had she been talking to? That night he could not sleep. He thought about everything he had seen. The light, the sound, the strange sadness in her voice. Part of him wanted to tell the other colonists, but another part knew they would not believe him. The next morning, Elias went to the hill again, but the widow's house looked normal, quiet, calm, and silent. No signs of light, no strange sounds. She stood outside, watching the sky. When Elias walked closer, she looked at him and smiled faintly. "Good morning," he said carefully. "Good morning," she replied in her calm, musical voice. For a moment, they stood in silence. Then Elias said softly, "I saw a light last night." The widow's eyes shimmered and a small smile appeared. "You see what others do not," she said. "Be patient, Elias Rin. The stars will speak again." And with that, she turned and went inside her glowing house. Elias stood there, staring after her, confused and curious. Her words echoed in his mind. The stars will speak again. That evening, when the moons rose, he watched the hill from his porch once more. He saw no lights, but he felt something different in the air. A quiet tension, like the pause before a storm. Whatever the widow was hiding, it was not meant to stay hidden for long. And though Elias did not yet understand it, he was already part of it. The peace of Varan 9 was only the beginning. Something ancient was awakening, and humanity, small, curious, and brave, was about to witness it. The night came quietly on Varan 9, yet the air felt different, heavier, charged, as if the planet itself held its breath. Elias Rin could not sleep. He had tried, but the memory of the widow's glowing eyes and her whispered words soon kept returning. He decided to climb the hill again. He needed answers. He did not know what he would find, but he felt certain that whatever was coming would change everything. As he walked through the forest, the alien trees whispered with the wind. The grass seemed to bend slightly under his steps, almost guiding him upward. By the time he reached the widow's house, the twin moons hung low in the sky, painting the world silver and blue. The house pulsed faintly with soft light. Elias hesitated. He did not want to intrude, yet he could not resist. Suddenly, the door opened. The alien widow stood there calm, her eyes reflecting starlight. "You came," she said, her voice soft but certain. I had to," Elias admitted. "I need to know. What is happening? Who was that figure last night?" The widow gestured for him to follow. "Come inside. There is much to see and little time." The interior of the house was unlike anything Elias had ever imagined. Walls shimmered like liquid crystal, showing images of distant stars, nebulae, and planets he had never visited. Strange, soft music filled the air, harmonizing with the pulse of the house. It was alive, not a machine, not just a building, but something in between. The widow led him to a chamber at the center. There, suspended in mid-air, was a sphere of glowing light, swirling with colors Elias could not name. Inside the sphere, he could see shapes moving, some humanoid, some abstract, all filled with energy. "That," she said, "is the last memory of my mate." Elias stepped closer. "Memory? You mean they're gone?" She shook her head slowly. "Gone from the physical world, yes, but not gone from the universe. Life does not end. It transforms. My mate's essence was bound to this planet after the Great Galactic War. For decades, I have kept it safe, waiting for the right moment." Elias felt a chill. "And the light last night? The figure?" "That was him returning briefly to speak with me. But the universe is changing, and soon he will return fully, and humanity must be ready." Elias frowned. "Humanity? What does that mean?" The widow's eyes glimmered. "Your species is small yet resilient. You have curiosity, courage, and determination. The galaxy may test you, and other civilizations may not be as kind. But humans, you have a spark. You can help preserve balance when the time comes." Before Elias could respond, the house trembled. The sphere of light expanded suddenly, glowing brighter and brighter until the entire chamber shone like a star. Elias had to shield his eyes. Then the air shimmered and he saw them. Figures emerging from the light, tall, graceful, and humanoid, glowing softly. They moved slowly as if waking from a long sleep. Elias recognized one immediately, the same figure he had seen last night. And beside it, many others, their forms flickering in and out, luminous and alive. They are from the old worlds, the widow explained. Ancient beings who once guided civilizations across the galaxy. My mate is one of them. They were forced to leave when war consumed the stars. Now they return, but not to conquer, but to restore balance. And you, Elias, are a witness. One day humans may walk alongside them. Elias could hardly believe his eyes. He felt small yet proud. Humanity, fragile and young in the galaxy, was part of something far greater than any starship or weapon he had ever known. Suddenly, the sphere pulsed again and the figures extended their hands toward Elias. He felt warmth, calmness and understanding flowing into him. Images flashed in his mind. Worlds at peace, civilizations helping each other, humans learning and teaching, exploring stars not with war, but with care. The widow smiled. This is what your species can become. You have the choice to rise to show that humanity is more than survival. You can be a light in the darkness. Elias felt tears on his cheeks. He had seen hardship, loss, and pain in his life. Yet now he saw hope. Hope not just for himself, but for every human, for every life on Varan 9, and perhaps for the galaxy itself. Hours passed. The stars outside shifted as if time flowed differently near the chamber. Elias watched the glowing beings merge with the sphere. Slowly the energy receded, leaving only the widow, serene and calm, her house quiet once more. They are gone. For now, she said. But remember, the night is long and change will come. You have seen their secret and you carry it now. Protect it and share it when the time is right. Elias nodded, understanding more than words could say. He stepped outside. The forest was calm, and the twin moons reflected off the hills. He felt connected to the planet, to humanity, and to the stars beyond. Over the next weeks, Elias returned to his life in the colony, but he was different. Every morning he watched the sunrise and thought of the widow and her glowing house. Every night he looked at the stars and remembered the luminous figures. Humanity felt larger, brighter, and more alive than ever. Other colonists noticed a change in him. Elias did not explain what he had seen, and no one asked further. It was a secret he held with respect and wonder. But he knew that when the time came, humans would need courage, curiosity, and the spark that made them resilient. And he was ready to guide them when that day arrived. One evening, months later, Elias climbed the hill again. He found the widow outside, gazing at the horizon. They will return, he said softly. Yes, she replied, eyes shining. And humanity will be ready. The wind whispered through the alien trees. In the distance, stars shimmered brighter as if responding. Elias felt hope, pride, and determination. The galaxy was vast and mysterious, yet humanity, small, curious, and bold, would face it with courage. The alien widow turned and entered her home, the soft glow returning. Elias stayed on the hill staring at the sky, knowing that the night he had seen the secret was only the beginning. The galaxy had secrets yet to reveal, and humans would witness them, survive them, and perhaps rise above them. And for the first time in a long while, Elias felt that humanity was not just a visitor in the stars. Humanity was a light, fragile, yes, but powerful. A light that could endure, shine, and inspire. The night grew deep and Varan slept, but above the stars whispered promises of the future, of wonders waiting for those willing to see. And Elias knew that he would watch, wait, and guide, for the secret of the alien widow was now his secret too. And so, the night he saw it ended not with fear but with hope. The hope that humanity, even small and young, could be more than anyone imagined.